And welcome back to part two of What the Uzumaki Clan Lived in the Leaf. So luckily, we're early enough into this what if that, especially in the storylines, what I mean, not necessarily the parts, that if a change needs to occur, I can make it, because there's two things that need to be addressed. One of the things I didn't even address yet, but someone brought it up, and I realized I might have overlooked that if they hadn't brought it up. So first and foremost, Orochimaru. Did Orochimaru live in this version? Well, no. Because, it was the third who was the Hokage at the time who ultimately went in and tried to stop him and, possibly kill him, but because of his relationship to his pupil, he didn't do it. And as far as we know, while it's never actually, I think it is stated that when he was Minato was chosen over him to be the fourth, that's when he just kind of went down the wrong path even further. But Minato would have been like, yeah, no, and just shoot, and he would have just blitzed his ass and just cut his throat, whatever. Granted, I think Orochimaru could have put up, because he was a candidate to be Hokage, would have put up a fight, but I think Minato would have, because of Flying Thunder God and all that, Flying Raijin, he would have, if Orochimaru thought he got away, he probably would have gotten a seal on him like he did Obito, and just been like, ha, I'm free! It's like, fascinating. That's really interesting, Orochimaru. I think Orochimaru actually dies in this. But the big question that's been going, that I've had to think about, because a lot of people have brought me up different variants of this, is if the Uchiha actually do survive. Because the reason the Uchiha, one of the big reasons the Uchiha ultimately rebel, we're going to form a coup, is because after the Nine Tails Fox, people thought the Uchiha were responsible, so their compound was relocated, and this formed a lot more distrust with the Uchiha, and the Uchiha felt more displaced and more, like they had lost more power and all that. The problem here is that I think it's clear. I think the fact that Obito's Sharingan most likely still would have been noticed on some level. But the Fox didn't rampage, so the village doesn't distrust the Uchiha. But I think there would still have been distrust, at least with the higher up shinobi, with the Uchiha. And the Uchiha had always been slowly getting displaced since the second, and and mistreated, whatever. I do think the Uchiha probably still went with the coup. I think they still probably would have tried to go with it, and Itachi would have come forth and offered to take them out himself. And so Itachi goes rogue. So those are the things that I really wanted to cover. And also Minato's living situation, because remember, Naruto didn't actually, technically, while Naruto married into the Hyuga clan, Hinata took the name Uzumaki, so he's not Naruto Uzumaki Hyuga, he's Naruto Uzumaki, and she's Hinata, I'm guessing Hyuga Uzumaki. We don't really know that any of them have middle names. So I guess it would just be, Hyuga Uzumaki, even though it's only ever Uzumaki. So Minato, most like, that's the thing. Would Minato have taken the Uzumaki name? Probably not. But with Kushina being a now a straight member of the clan, taken the last name of Namikaze. You know what? Actually, I'm going to check something real quick, because anytime I look up Kushina, I only ever look her up as Kushina Uzumaki. But let me check to see possibly if she actually had Minato's last name. Let's see, Kushina. Here we go. Kushina Uzumaki. Did she have his last name? Now, this isn't the part I'm really focusing on. I'm trying to focus on. This is actually a minor thing. Actually, I'm only seeing her listed as Uzumaki, and apparently she had wind and water release, which is cool. I'm actually only seeing her listed as Uzumaki. I'm not seeing her listed as a Namikaze. So my guess is she actually, even though they were kind of married in secret a little bit, and she was kind of trying to hide her pregnancy for a while. I'm guessing she didn't take the Namikaze name, and I'm guessing here because of the prominence of the Uzumaki, she still wouldn't, but that doesn't mean they're not married or anything like that. But what I was trying to get at would be, do they actually live at the clan compound with the other Uzumakis? I think in this circumstance, because Minato actually has such a good, I think, close relationship with, like, he learned so much from Kushina alone, and probably would learn a lot about seals and stuff with the Uzumaki, have a really good relationship with them. I think he would actually live with the Uzumakis at the clan compound. I think he would actually make that arrangement. But now that we're there, let's actually get into the story as it is. Naruto is whatever the age would be before he starts Ninja Academy. He's running around saying, come and catch me, Karin-chan! There is, by the way, I argued with giving a Naruto maybe another sibling, because let's be honest, Kushina and Minato probably have company with each other more than, like, say, just a few times back. No, I'm sure they have moments together, but do they have another kid? I would argue they probably don't. I think they're probably good with having Naruto as a son, because Naruto himself is just a handful, and is right, being an Uzumaki kid. I could actually see the argument that Uzumakis generally don't have more than one kid just because of the high energy a lot of these kids have. And Karin's kind of chasing him a little bit around, saying, "Oh, come on, twerp! I'm already in Ninja Academy. You can't hide from me." And she throws out one of her chakra chains, like, "Ha! Miss me! Ha! Miss me!" So this is kind of her day, and I could totally see it. I could totally see Karin and Naruto having a big brother, big sister relationship. And they're running, and Karin immediately says, "Naruto!" And then it's like, "Ha! You're gonna boom!" And it's like, is it, going somewhere, Naruto? And he looks up and he sees the head of the clan, who I will be affectionately naming after my favorite Bleach character, Kisuke Uzumaki. Oh, yeah. Who I'm modeling a little bit after myself. Oh, yeah, my little insertion. Because, this is where I had to actually get fanfic. I actually have to create characters. And is it going somewhere, Naruto? Hi there, hi there, old man Kisuke. Oh, I'm an old man now, am I, Naruto? Looking down at him stern. No, sorry, fly. Where are you going? Oh, I was just gonna go see Mom and tell her the good news. Oh, you're gonna have to get past me, Naruto, if you're good. After bumping into me like that, you have to show me how much you progress. And then which Naruto actually gets the Kage. Ha, you're on! Shadow Clone Jutsu! Oh, really? Shadow Clone Jutsu. You're starting out with that. Interesting. And interesting. And Kisuke just boom, boom. It's like, you're really going to have to do better than that. And he's like, I got you! And then, he slams the ground, and all of a sudden, a seal matrix forms. And it's like, ooh, barrier seal, please. Is that the most you can? And all of a sudden, the steel starts to crackle. I thought this up. It's a barrier explosion seal. Don't worry. And then it just explodes. Right, like on the deck. There's like a burn mark. Don't worry. It wouldn't kill you, but it should knock you out. And all of a sudden, it's like, not bad, Naruto. All of a sudden, his demeanor changes to this kind of jovial guy who's basically just messing with Naruto just to see how much he's progressed. You really come along with those seals. You're pretty good. You're pretty good for your age, Naruto. But you got a long way to go before you can mess with me. Darn it! And he just all of a sudden, Kisuke's just got a cheeky grin. It's like, but still, you did pretty good, Naruto. I'll give you that. So what is the big news anyway? And he just kind of hops down, and now he's in his real form. Like he can be the serious head of the clan he wants to be, but he's a jovial natured guy, kind of like me. And like I said, I'm using Kisuke's name because I kind of see him like that. I was like, I'm going to start Ninja Academy in the next couple of days. Oh, is it really that time already? Wow. Oh, your mom's going to be pretty proud of you, Squirt. I was like, don't call me Squirt. Well, stop being short, and I'll stop calling you Squirt. I was like, now go see your mom. It's like, right. Good. Ma, your cousin is quite the rambunctious sort. Karin's just like, well, what do you expect? He's an Uzumaki, and he's the Hokage's son. It's like, yeah, Minato's got quite that cheeky attitude too sometimes, doesn't he? And he walks off. That's something I wanted to address about Naruto's character too. There would always be a risk when you're the child of the Hokage of having like a big head, attitude, all of that. I think though, between Kushina and Minato, between their actual personalities, that they are able to keep Naruto proud, but in check, humble. Excuse me. Oof, second a little too much here when I talk. You're proud but humble. So I think, well, Naruto definitely is aware. I'm the son of the Hokage. Yeah, and I'm one of the members. I'm gonna guess he's a main branch. I'm one of the heads of the main branch of the Uzumakis. Yeah. Um, but at that, even though he's got that attitude, he's like, but there's always going to be someone better than me if I'm not careful. I got to work for what I want and what I have. And for a 7-ish year old, I'm going to say that's around that time, 7 or 8-ish year old, he's very much ahead of the curve. Most Uzumaki kids, I imagine, are going to be. I'd also say that the relationship with some of the other clans are usually fine, but some of them, like the Hyugas, for instance, branding with the damn curse seal, that's one of those things that's not cool. And I would imagine that even though the seal is pretty intricate, the Uzumaki are probably among the only ones who could actually remove it, because I imagine in this version, it's even possible that the seal in general was derived from Uzumaki technique. So I imagine the Uzumaki are the only ones in the village who could remove that seal just naturally. It's still a complicated seal from what we understand. So even the Uzumaki might be like, okay, we're going to have to focus a little on this. Okay? Good. Like the Uzumaki actually has to go, okay. So, yeah, I mean, and so Naruto starts his day, like his first day of like the academy. He actually has friends. As I said in the previous one, he's actually friends ultimately with like Shikamaru, Choji, Hinata. He's actually friends because he's helped save her, and they actually can. And he's not the Nine Tails container of the Jinchuriki. So the village doesn't look at him with disdain. At best, they might get a little annoyed by some of his antics, but ultimately they just see him as a kid. They do. In fact, there is no animosity towards the Nine Tails Jinchuriki, because the Nine Tails never actually was released. The idea that the village might even know who the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails is, you can make the argument they might not even know Kushina has that thing. And so they go through a lot of their school days. Naruto spends a lot of time being, with his friends. They're young, so in fact, like, romance is not on the table right now, even though Hinata clearly is smitten from that young age. Still, they're doing their thing. Naruto, I would say, Naruto, unless the topic is that he's a genius or prodigy or something like that, is never going to be an academically superior ninja to most other people. But between Minato, who is a natural genius, and Kushina, I imagine he would be at least mildly above average in class with his academics. So, yeah, I see him being like above average, maybe even in the top percentile of the class if you factor in the other things in class that he would be, doing, like actual ninja training, hand to hand, all that. And when it comes to things like hand to hand, he goes toe to toe with Sasuke, no problem. He, in fact, probably may even beat him more often than Sasuke beats him. But Sasuke's overall grades would make him arguably, so they're actually probably neck and neck overall. But this kind of changes a little bit not the dynamic change. Grades don't change, but dynamic change when the Uchiha massacre happens, and this is heard, and everything is, when they hear about it, Naruto, who knows his ass as Hokage, actually, when Minato comes home one day, which, again, I'm going to stop real quick and just note that, unlike with Naruto, who kind of needed to make clones to get to home, Minato could just leave a fucking live seal at home and in his office go, boop, 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 I'm home, ha-ha! Hell, I got an hour for break for lunch, honey. Kids are at school. Afternoon to late. Come on, come here, baby. But he can do that. Why not? He's the Hokage. He can literally teleport across the country. Literally, he can do that. So Minato comes home one day, and after hearing, he's in a mood, and it's Naruto. Not his wife, because his wife knows that he had to make the choice. It's Naruto, of all people, who actually looks at his dad and just look, because he's actually probably got along pretty well with Sasuke. They may not have been true friends, but they got along pretty well, because the Uzumaki, and I imagine the Uchiha, better relations than, say, with the Hyuga and the Uzumaki, because of the seal usage, because they're seal masters, and as seal masters, they found that like an ugly practice, I imagine. But they were probably the closest they could be next to the Senju, and the Senju and the Uchiha had a lot of history, and I imagine Uzumaki and the Uchiha probably have a less bloodied history, but some similar relation. So when Naruto heard about that, he looks at his dad and just because he's not stupid. Naruto's not stupid. And it's, hey Naruto, what's wrong? It's like, and Naruto's looking at him, and Kushina's actually a little like, like she doesn't even say like he knows. She can just give him a look, and Minato realizes like, oh shit. And Minato doesn't really have any words to say. He's like, and Minato just actually looks at him and says, "Did you order it?" And Minato doesn't say anything, and he can tell where this is going, and he's just feeling. One of the things Minato's probably taught Naruto is like the Hokage is going to have to do things to protect the village, things he may not want to do. But it's still one of those things that Naruto may be more mature for his age, especially in this version, but he's still a kid. And he just says it again. He wants to hear it. Did you order it? And to Minato's credit, he didn't order it. And so Minato basically says, I didn't want to order it. It's like, I didn't order it, but I approved it. Like, Minato is culpable in this circumstance. It's like, Itachi, and Sasuke's brother Itachi came to me, told me what the clan was going to do. And I had to make a choice. War, where people were going to die, our family, innocent civilians were going to die, all because they wanted power. Or did I let Itachi do what he had to do? And Naruto is just kind of, and he hears that, and Naruto, from everything he's learned, and because he wants to be Hokage, like everything he's learned to this point in his time, which I think he'd probably be like closer to like 7, 8, whatever. Anyway, again, I can never remember the age which Sasuke actually was when the massacre actually happened. He looks down and he can understand those words, but doesn't matter. Like, he's still right now, he's angry and he's hurt by his father. So yeah, he goes to his room. He doesn't run to his room. He walks away. He goes to his room and he slams the door a little bit. And Minato doesn't even flinch. And I was just, it's like, oh jeez. Kami, why did this have to happen? And he just sits at the table, and his wife gets him a drink. Not necessarily alcohol. I don't know. We have no idea if Minato would have really been a drinker or not, but Kushina gets him something to drink, something just like a cold drink or a hot drink, whatever, booze, whatever it's going to be. And she sits with him, and she comforts her husband, and is like, look, Naruto is a smart kid, and he wants to be a Hokage, and you told him when he wanted to be that the Hokage is going to have to make choices he doesn't want to make. And he's young, he understands that, but he can't emotionally. He's still a child, so you just gotta let him have time. Give him the space. He'll come to you when the time is right. It's like, yeah. And so Naruto honestly now spends a couple days in a bit of a mood. This is where the fake mask Naruto comes in, where he kind of puts on the mask of just smile. Because that's actually who Naruto in this version is normally, is he is that smiling, jovial, happy. Like, he doesn't actually have a lot to be upset about in the world. He really is happy with his life. He's got family, friends, all that. But now what they're seeing is a bit more fake. And luckily for him, most of his friends can't pick up on it because his fake mask is pretty close to his real face. But being the ever-loving stalker she is, Hinata can pick up something's off about Naruto. So at lunch, she does go to ask him what's wrong. And luckily here, because Naruto is so upfront with being friends with her and they have such a relationship with each other, her stutter, first off, it helps give her more confidence, even though she's still very a little shy, not very shy, right? She's still very quiet around him and shy, because again, she very much, cares about him and likes him very much. She's able to actually speak in mostly coherent sentences because he helps bolster her confidence. And she asks him what's going on, what's wrong. And Naruto's like, nothing's wrong. And she actually says a bit more firm, like, Naruto, I've known you for a couple of years now. I'm your friend. And I know what you look like when you're actually happy and when things are normal. This isn't you. This isn't that. I can tell you're putting on a front. And Naruto's finally kind of, his face drops a little bit, and he's not crying, but he's very depressed. It's like it's like, I don't. It's something and Naruto admittedly knows he can't tell her what happened, but per se, but he basically says that he found out his dad did something, and that he knew his dad had to do. It was something that wasn't great, but it was for the sake of the village. And he's found out his dad did something that really that affected other people that he knows and stuff like that. Now Naruto is trying to be coy about it, but he's also a kid. So while he never says like, "Oh yeah, he approved the killing of Sasuke's family," he says it in a way that Hinata might actually be able to pick up on what it is. But Hinata's at least got enough tact to be like, it's like, Naruto, it's like, your dad had to do what he did. It's like, I know that, but it doesn't change the fact he did it, and it hurt people regardless. So, Naruto's down, and Hinata just gives him a big hug. He's like, it's gonna be okay. Your dad's not an evil person, and he just kind of like, he needs the hug right now to feel a little better. And then obviously the gossip girls are good. It's like Sakura and Ino are like, oh my god, look at them, look at them. Which, by the way, Sakura and Ino have probably no problem with Naruto. In fact, honestly, Naruto may even have a bit of a fan base himself beyond Hinata in this version. I'd even argue to say that Ino might even be more of a Naruto fangirl because of his nice jovial attitude versus Sasuke, who acts all emo edgelord, which is cool, fine, but Naruto actually gives people the time of day. He's nice, he's kind. Sasuke obviously grows to be a bit more harsh and cynical, which girls found that they wanted the bad boy, but at the same time, you get the nice guy who's, actually there and giving you attention. I think, some of the class might actually be split 50-50, and Ino might actually be a Naruto fangirl, to which Ino might actually look like, oh, that's cute, but she ain't moving in on my man. To which, because Naruto, how are you doing? What's going on? It's like, oh, hi, It's like, it's like, just having a bit of a rough day. It's like, oh, it's like, here, do you need a hug? It's like, well, it's like, here, let me give you a hug. And she's like, gives Naruto, and Naruto's like, oh, because he's not that close to you. He's friendly with you, but he's not that close. Oh, well, thank you. That's actually very nice. It's like, yeah. She looks at Hinata, like, oh, I'm gonna get him, girl. To which Hinata actually is like a little taken back, but then she's like, but she kind of huffs a little bit. But again, being weirdly enough, when you actually think about the little we saw of all three of them, she was the most mature of that group, of that age. She was fawning over Naruto, but in a completely different, admittedly more creepy way, but she wasn't harassing him. That's the thing. She admired him from afar. So that is actually a more mature aspect than harassing someone. Now, granted, you can argue the stalker aspect of it all you want, and you wouldn't be wrong necessarily. But Hinata quickly smiles and goes, is like, no, Naruto and I are actually legit. Like, he's friendly with Ino. Me and Naruto are legitimately friends, and that can lead to something more. And Naruto, Naruto is Naruto, so he's gonna have, people admire. It's like, and she actually smiles, and that kind of like, it's like, it's like, wait, your declaration, no, it's like, wait, you're not worried about me. Oh, it's on now, girl. So her rivalry is actually surprising, I think, with Hinata than Sakura, which means Sakura and Ino don't have any problem being friends. So there's that. So really, we would honestly cut now to much later down the road with their exams coming up to graduate, because honestly, Karin has already graduated. She's in Rock Lee and Neji's age group, but she's not on their team because they got Tenten. Oh, so she probably wouldn't be a bad addition to the team if you were to swap Tenten out with her. Because she's got her chakra chains. I don't know if they ever say what her chakra elements are. Let me actually check that real quick. Let's see here. Uzumaki clan. Karin Uzumaki. Which, by the way, fun fact, Karin is actually never referred to as Uzumaki. Like she never uses the surname of Uzumaki. Okay. So she apparently is an Earth, Water, and Yin Yang user, which the Yin Yang makes complete sense given some of the stuff we've seen. But apparently she's an Earth and Water user. So, either way, I was just checking that out for possible future story parts. So she could actually make, because with her chakra chains and maybe a little bit of elemental jutsu impact, that she's also pretty aggressive. She could, and sorry, I got an itch. She could definitely probably work on team, what was it, 9? But no, she would. She'd probably have her own team. Maybe, honestly, no joke, I could see it consisting of a team of Uzumakis. Like, that would be something that could actually be really cool, because there's more than just, there's probably a few other Uzumakis in Naruto's class, is the thing. He's not the only kid of his age range. I mean, look, Karin's only like a year or two ahead of him. So there might even be a couple Uzumakis like in his class besides him. But, so, that, you know what? I'm making that thing right now. She's team, actually, how many teams were there? There was team 7, 8, 9, 10. Was there team 11? No, it's the Kona 12 right there. So there was no team 11. There's a team 11 here. Or she's team 6. Whatever. And that means I'm now going to make at least 2 more Uzumaki characters, because they're going to be relevant because they're Uzumakis and it's Karin. So, yeah, they'll be relevant. So, yeah, she's already graduated. She's on her own team with her, her fellow Uzumakis. And the fourth even said, we don't really have a full team of Uzumakis. That would be like, that's going to be pretty cool. Are pretty important, pretty powerful. So that is honestly where we're going to leave off, is that really life has moved on pretty pat. Naruto has tried to actually talk to Sasuke on several occasions, but Sasuke kind of shuts him out. Although he appreciates Naruto as a rival, Naruto actually pushes him harder, which I think actually gives us a bit more well-rounded Sasuke here, just a little bit. And Sasuke was already well-rounded, but he's actually a bit more skilled here, because Naruto actually is a lot more skilled, and therefore it pushes him to be a lot better. Particularly like in hand-to-hand combat, Sasuke was always confident, and so was Naruto, but he was always better than Naruto. Here, he is probably even more competent. So yeah, Sasuke still keeps to himself. Naruto and him, they can at least gauge in conversation. And unlike in the original, he actually does respect Naruto. Like, Naruto is the only one in the class who is actually at his level, if not, and Sasuke doesn't want to admit to that, higher. So Sasuke definitely appreciates Naruto as a rival, definitely. But that's where we're going to leave it off at the near 8-minute mark. I normally try to go for more like a 23, 25-minute mark, but with this kind of story, I think it warrants going on a bit longer. So I'm going to try to keep it that low, or that short, but that long at 23 to 25, but don't be surprised if I end up going longer on some of these. Anyway, that is where we're leaving part 2 off today. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next Wednesday, because now we don't have a week coming for a little bit. I'll see you next Wednesday. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.